You look great. Hello.
Thank you.
It's lovely to have you here. Thank you for giving your time for us. And I'm sure people got very excited about this opportunity of hearing from you, such an expert in the book industry. And yes, I expect that many people right now, because of the confinement, might be considering taking it seriously and write their own book. So let's see. Ladies, we have Matilda, Denise, and Deirdre. Matilda, hi everyone. I'm Matilda from Germany, near Cologne. Welcome, Matilda. And where did you get to know about this event? Let me know, because between me and Mindy, we just shared in so many platforms. So it's always great to know which one is working. To put that way, right, Mindy?
Yep.
So which one is working? And yes, so we keep talking here. How is it there in London right now? The weather's lovely, isn't it?
It's been a beautiful weekend.
Yes.
This is the third day of the long weekend. So we've
Okay.
had
Ah,
such
yes.
good weather. Yeah, we have the Memorial, well, it's not Memorial Day. It's called
Uh-huh.
Whitsun. And I meant to look it up because in
Okay.
America it's Memorial Day. Over here it's called Whit.
Okay.
And I think it's a religious
It
holiday.
was on Thursday
No,
or today?
today.
So mixed it, because here I'm in Bavaria now,
Okay, yes.
and they also have lots of Catholic um, celebrations, and I get really confused, and I don't know. Okay, so Deirdre got in LinkedIn. That's awesome. Matilda got to know about us on Facebook. So that's awesome. Deirdre, are you calling from Ireland? Do I know you? I used to live in Ireland for 15 years, or 13. So it's my second home. So I love it. And just to know where people are coming from. So because we have a broad, very broad audience, as you know, and as you do have as well yourself, Mindy. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yep. Very
Yeah.
good.
I say you have one foot in Europe, another one in the US, right?
Well, not at the moment, but
Not at the moment. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So Deirdre said yes, but we only met recently. Okay, Deirdre. And so yes, ladies, tell us here, what have you already written a book, or are you thinking of writing a book, or you're just curious to know what takes to write a book? Just let us know so we can start sensing what are the expectations here. Ian from Barcelona. Hello, Ian.
hola.
Great to have you here. Ian is just founded the Professional Speakers Association in Spain, with a chapter in Barcelona. So I invited him because I said you have to get your members to get to know Mindy, because as all the speakers, eventually, or in one moment or another in our career as speakers, we want to write what we are talking about.
Yeah, but many times people are new to speaking or they're new to
Mm.
the PSA, but not new to speaking. So I ran London PSA for 2 years
How
and
do you do? Ah,
we had a lot of growth in that time. And I'm still an active member. I've been part of the PSA for 15 years.
awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Matilda says here that she's curious and would love to write a book. So
Great.
I'm sure you're going to get lots of insights here that will get you motivated tonight. So, yes, and talking about the other day, in fact, yesterday, I watched a video talk with three ladies who are bookers. One, probably you know her, Maria
Franzoni.
Canzoni. Who doesn't know Maria, right?
Right.
And then Karen Berger. She's here in Germany.
Oh,
She has
okay.
a
Right.
boutique agency, and a lady from France. I don't know her, just met her, but it was very interesting, the conversation, because they are three of them are bookers, and one speaker was interviewing them asking what to do right now. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that she said, I'm not going to share all. I can share the link after, and then everybody can watch the interview. But one thing she said, in fact, it was Maria who said that, which I really liked it. She said, "Listen, stop calling yourself speakers.
Mm-hmm.
The companies, what they need solutions, they need experts, they need people who can bring them forward. So if you see yourself only as a speaker, so you are missing opportunity there. And also, I believe a book is an amazing opportunity to establish your knowledge and establish yourself as a speaker. But I'm very picky here, and I told this to Mindy. Although I believe that everybody has a book inside and everybody can write a book, but I for one say here that it needs guidance and is as any other skill you need to learn. Don't you agree with me, Mindy?
Of course, I agree with you. It's my business.
Exactly,
Business to agree
exactly.
with you.
So don't be naive as everything that we see nowadays. People say, "Oh, just do this, and tomorrow you get it." There's no such thing like that. And just I think it's a pleasure if you have an idea and write a book. But let's consider that it's work to do and needs guidance. And here we have Mindy. So we are 2 minutes, and I like to start in time. This is about something that I've learned from my time living in Switzerland, because for a Brazilian it is a challenge, and for me, I feel so proud when I am in time. And just saying, like what before getting started, Ian said that he has written 4 books, but don't feel I'm making the most out of them. That's very good, because we will bring this conversation here. Before we start, I would like to properly introduce the lady here. I'm going to read because it requires to be read, because she has so many, she has achieved so much that I wouldn't be able to remember by heart. So Mindy Gibbins-Klein is an international speaker and executive coach specializing in turning experts into thought leaders and published authors. Mindy has authored and co-authored 9 books, including 24 Carat BOLD, about which Seth Godin, yeah, I have that one. Seth Godin said, "This is the first thoughtful book I've seen on what it means to become a thought leader. Practical and inspiring at the same time." Just a side note here for the ones who don't know Seth Godin, you go there and check, because this guy is the person in marketing and sales. Her latest book, The Thoughtful Leader, challenges leaders. Very good, Mindy. You go with the props and I go with the text. Okay. Her latest book, The Thoughtful Leader, challenges leaders to be more thoughtful in all senses of the word. A native New Yorker, Mindy currently resides in the UK, where she operates 2 businesses. She is the founder and CEO of the book Midwife, very, very good name, an elite book coaching company, and Panoma Press, a cooperative publisher of business and personal development books. Her TEDx talk, "Sometimes You Need to Change Yourself to Be Yourself," has nearly 500,000 views, and it showcases Mindy's passion for helping people from all underrepresented groups to become leaders, and for all people to approach life more thoughtfully. Awesome. Mindy has an inviolable list of more than 700 published clients who have become real thought leaders and successful authors. She has been an international speaker for 25 years and has presented to and coached over 50,000 business executives and entrepreneurs in 18 countries on creating powerful content and thought leadership. Her own online and offline content has been syndicated, licensed, and showcases worldwide. As a regular media contributor, Mindy has been featured over 100 times in national and specialist press, radio, and television over the past 10 years. She is a regular contributor of Huffington Post as well as executive media in several countries. Mindy, welcome. It's such an honor to
Thank
have you
you.
here. And you should be proud of all you have here because this is real, guys. Welcome.
It's crazy to listen to it all together like that. And the TEDx talk now has over 750,000 views. So
Wow.
it's speeding up. Yeah, thank
That's
you very much. Thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah. So I have a list here of questions for you. And what I would ask the people here, write your burning questions because I would have this conversation with Mindy for, we see 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then I open the floor for everybody who wants to ask a question. And I think it's can be, I can pick a question when I see it, or we leave it for the end, but do write your questions here because it's important for us here, for both of us to know what you're looking for and to see how Mindy here, she's here. Take the most of her brain now and ask all the questions you want. So I will start with my very basic question here to you is, when someone decides to write a book, what do they have to consider in the first place?
Okay, so a lot of people think they want to write a book. And I would say the motivation and intention is the most important thing, because some people are told, like by speaker bookers, you should have a book, or their coach says you really should write a book, or all their friends say, you have such an amazing story, you should write a book. You have to have that internal motivation. You know what I mean. And all the personal development folks know that's the most important thing, because, in terms of the content, what to put in, what to leave out, what angle, and lots of other things. These can be figured out together with a coach. But if you don't have the right motivation for anything, you're not going to do it, right? So I would say that's the most important thing.
And can I also say that this also could be, you need to believe in yourself that your content is something.
No, if you don't mind, I'm going to disagree, because
really, okay, that's good. That's good. Tell me why.
Because when you plug into a powerful process, in a way, I don't want to be sacrilegious, but it's like believing in God. You just trust, and when you have enough trust and a process that has worked 1,000 times, you can relax. And the point about the book Midwife is we pull that content together, and because a lot of times people don't have the belief when they start because they've never done it. So I would say it's just the opposite. By the end, when you've done it, you have the belief because you've proven it for yourself.
Very good point. Never have thought that way. But also there's another question here in my mind would be, do you believe that people don't believe they can do it or don't have the motivation because this also means exposing yourself? Because when you have your book out there with your name on it, it's something important. No, you cannot just back up.
That's the other fear. So the first fear we were talking about is fear of not being enough. But the fear that you're talking about now is kind of a fear of rejection or a fear of the unknown, because you don't know how it's going to go, what people's response is going to be, or even fear of success. Oh my gosh, I'll be out there, and what if the paparazzi come to my house? Who knows?
Right? Keep them out. Yeah. Interesting point. So, but let's consider now. Then someone comes to you. I come to you and I say, I have an idea. I would love to have this idea in a book format. Yeah. What would be the first steps, Mindy? What do you tell me? What do you ask me?
Well, I have a lot of questions for people because first I ask about the motivation, but we spoke about that already. And then the practical aspects. So whether they're going to get help or not, they need to put time into the book. Now, it really depends how urgent it is. So we all no, maybe not all. Many people have seen the 4 quadrants with urgent and important. And the book many times is important but not urgent. But sometimes it's urgent. So I try to find out, is there an urgency? Is it a book about COVID-19 or something very topical?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a book, well, whatever. If the window of opportunity is tight and it's going to close, then we try to make sure we know. How can you write this book fast? I have some answers for that. But it's about the timing and how much time they have to put in. If they don't get help, if they do DIY, do it yourself, and they don't get any help at all, a book, a solid 200-page book, takes on average 200 hours of someone's time. With our process, we cut that down to 100 hours. So, but still, do you want to put 1 hour a week in for 100 weeks or 2 years? I don't think so. Do you want to put 2 hours a week in for a year? Anyway, you get the idea. So I start finding out this relationship between the urgency and the importance, and also the time they're willing to put in and the time that's required.
Okay. Were there any, in your experience, any situation that you faced like that? Because I believe for this process, and I love the name of your business on that, the book Midwife, meaning you will help people to deliver the book, literally. And it's a very intimate process that you and the author. Has it been any situation where you said to yourself or even to the person, we are not a good match to work together?
In the early days, I worked with fiction. So now we're talking about business books, personal development, books about people's expertise and experience. But before I narrowed it down, I had a guy come to me with a horror book, and very, very graphic, and like all sorts of blood and things like that. And I just said, personally, this is not for me. And and he wanted me to market it. And it's a long story. It's really how I started niching down at the book Midwife, and everything became about helping plan it at the beginning and making that decision early. Is this a good fit? So you live and you learn, right?
Yes, exactly. And throughout the process with people, you work in your, is this an individual process, or you work with groups when
Both.
you are?
Yeah, so any given day. So this week, for example, I'm managing 3 private clients and 2 groups. So there's, I have to keep remembering where I am with each group and with each person, where they are in the process, because everybody started at a different time. Well, the group people started on the same day. And it's really to decide, I know this is not what you asked, but I think it's really important for someone to decide whether they would be okay being in a group. And for some people, it adds a special dimension. It's a different dynamic. When you have other people going through the same journey, they become friends, you help each other, support each other, mutual accountability. Some people really don't want to do their book in a group. They don't want to share. There's somebody I know who's writing about cutting edge, leading edge stuff in AI, and he would not have fit into the group. I wouldn't want him talking about his content, because, it's his IP, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Be too complex also to share, no?
Probably.
Yes, and here making a parallel with the self-publishing, because as I told you, I have my book. I self-published it at the time, although I had some guidance, but I didn't have any strategy. My desire was to write a book. And I put my care, my effort. I wanted it to be a good book, and I believe it's a good book. I'm very happy for that. But I didn't have any strategy. And one of the things that really disappointed me was, by the time I finished my book, this was 2015. By the time I was living in Zurich still, and they had just one English bookstore. And by that time, they stopped accepting the self-published books. and which I believe most of the bookstores do, because, and the lady was kind enough to explain to me why. She told me, because when we need more, we cannot risk that we need more. We have the demand, and the publisher, the person, the author cannot deliver in time, and all the other logistics and some kind of, don't know, agreement maybe. And but that was my big thing.
Yeah.
I know that from what I've been following you, and you have one of your pupils here. Jane is here. Jane Piper. Yes. Jane, we have to. Yes. She says, like, Tulia, happy to say a few words. Let me know when. Absolutely. We need, it's a good live testimonial here. But I know from following you doing, because I know Jane, I know Evelyn Nonotti, that you also coaches, and the other lady in Zurich. There was a whole process, and I saw also all the marketing of the book afterwards, which I said, damn, I didn't have that.
You didn't know me.
I didn't know you. So can you share a little bit of us? Because when we see at the beginning, we talk about this, like, coaches and mentors saying, you have to write a book, friends, you have to write a book. But this book has to have a purpose. It's not only to make you feel good, as I felt with and proud of my book, but it's so much effort put in there that you should be able to, if monetize is difficult, but expand that, in that you can bring your book to position yourself more as an expert, or I give the floor to you. So can you share with us a little bit more about that, the importance of that?
Sure. Well, the thing is, Tulia, I don't like leading the witness. So one of the things that I always ask is, why someone's writing it. And I try not to make them wrong. I've worked with half a dozen older people in their 70s and 80s. And for them, yeah, they're not monetizing anything. They're leaving a legacy. And it is mostly about having that achievement and saying, wow, I've done it, and having it to show their kids and grandkids. And, in that case, I'm not going to make them wrong. For a business person who has, a business leader, an expert, has their own business, it's true that when you have a good book in print, and I say a good book, and I can define that later if you like, people will respond. So that should open doors, that should lead somewhere. And so the possibilities are there. Now, does everyone capitalize on them? No. Does everybody understand how to use their book without being a pain in the neck? And every day on Facebook, buy my book, buy my book. That's not the way to do it, by the way. So there's huge potential. And some of my authors are speakers. We were talking about speaking. Can I just give a very small example that I gave on a webinar?
Absolutely, all the examples.
I'll talk fast.
You're free.
So we were talking about using a book when you're a speaker. And I said, it's very simple. Remember this: before, during, and after. And oh, my camera's going this way: before, during, and after. So normally it's the other way. Think about it. If you have a book and you want to send it to a speaker booker, a meeting planner, or any influencer, you send it with a note, make it look nice. They read it and it influences them about you. This is why it has to be a good book. During, if you get the gig, sorry, there's one more thing you can do before. How could I forget?
Okay.
If they like you and they want to book you, you can then bring the book in. So instead of just doing the talk, you say, well, look, wouldn't you love every delegate to leave with a copy of my book? I mean, this would be great. Yes. Okay. So let's do a deal. Let's make sure there's 100 copies included, whatever. That's before. During, obviously, we've seen books on a table, so you can get an upsell if they haven't pre-bought the book. And you can sign them, get photos with people buying them, PR. And then after, someone takes the book home and they're reading this book, and they're reading it in bed, they're reading it on the train, they're reading it in the bath, whatever, and they read it, they get to the end and they go, oh, I must work with this woman or this man. So that's just a very small selection of things that you can do. if you have a good book that you're proud of and that will lead to business.
That's a very good tip. Well done. Thank you very much for sharing that. I would like to have Jane to say something, but I think here that in this webinar, Jam, I cannot get people to speak. Jane, I think, just to interrupt here, do you see a little hand like this that maybe you can ask to speak there? So I'm still learning a little bit about this webinar.
You're doing a great job. Maybe she could type it and you can read it.
Yes, if not, she can type it, and then we continue while she figures out. Oh yes, she marks to speak. Let's see what I see from Jane. No, I don't see a way of inviting her to talk. Oh, I'm sorry. So types something that you want to share with us, and I make sure everybody reads and knows about it here. And I continue here taking Mindy's brain. So, and another thing is when people come to you, what are the big mistakes? Like if there's some mistakes that you see people when they really want to write a book, and misconceptions, something that we have to have in mind, and many people don't have in mind.
Right. So, well, the biggest mistake is not seeking help. So then they're not even talking to me. And every week people say, I've published my book. Do you want me to send you a copy? I'm like, no, not really. I think, oh no, I wish I had met them before. But so that's the biggest mistake, is not getting any advice ever. When they come, if they know how we work, and I'll just say this now and I'll repeat it later, the best time to get advice and guidance and input is as early as possible, before they do any writing and even before they do any planning. So the biggest mistake people make is they think, or it's a misconception, like you said, they believe they have to have written the first draft and then come to us. It's just, or at least, let me do my outline and then come to you. No, because, well, you can, but it'd be a real shame, because why wouldn't you want all the possibilities open to you and let me and my team do our best work all the way through, right from the start? And there's some big decisions to be made right up front. What's going to be in, what's going to be left out, what format should it be, what style, what tone, what balance, how do you use the stories, what length should the book be, what length should the stories be, how, and if you're guessing on all of these things, it's difficult. I won't talk to somebody about coaching if they've already written the whole thing, because they say, oh no, but I'm open to, you're not open to input, because you're not going to want to start over. Well, some people say they're willing to. Anyway, this is a big warning. If you are thinking about getting help with your book, at least speak to me or somebody early. At least understand how you could have someone hold your hand from the beginning. And this is what you and I were talking about, Tulia. The book Midwife is a great brand. However, we're talking about a fertility clinic, something that happens way before you talk about the, giving birth. I mean, there's like a lot of stages, but normally the midwife is not there in the bed with you. So it's a bit tricky.
Okay. So if I understood well, so I would contact you and say, I have this idea, I want to write a book, and then we have a talk, and it's a session, and then where you ask all the questions, and then we can decide to go ahead.
Exactly right. Exactly. Because that's, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, but the problem is that it's, very few, if anybody, very few coaches are working like this. Many people will go to an editor, after they've written the book, but I just think that's not the right way to do it, because what do you do if the book is twice as long as it needs to be, or if you've gone off the wrong direction, or if, I just feel sad. Anyway.
And I think, you can correct me if my line of thinking is not correct. That it's important also to know what are the trends in the market, what are the publishers are looking for. I'm not saying that you change your subject completely, but you might have to kind of shape your message in a way to serve the market. Am I wrong to say that?
This is the age-old question of how much do you want to fit in versus how much do you want to stand out? And this is not just a question about books. I know you and the viewers here know what I'm talking about. It depends. I hate that answer, but it really does.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
You know
maybe I can grab you the next time on this.
No, but it does depend, because there's times when you want to fit into a trend. For example, if you do a book that's like A2 size, you think, well, I'm gonna make it this big, this big, and it's not gonna fit on a shelf. That's like a practical thing. If you think, oh, it's gonna stand out, yeah, but where's it gonna stand? And then titles are really important, and the cover, and this is all done by a good publisher, of course. You can start the process with a coach, but certain things you need to fit in, or it's going to cost you. There's this whole trend of swear words. I don't know who's noticed that. I don't really want to go there. I don't want to use the F word, even with the little stars. It's a cheap trick. That's my opinion, by the way. Anyway, that's my opinion.
Yeah. Okay, got the point. Jane wrote here, let me read what she wrote. Hi, Tulia and Mindy. I think for the most important thing was the help after writing the book to get the message out there. As said, you spend hours, oops, she wrote something else. You spend hours, okay, you spend hours writing, editing, organizing the book, and then to find your important message just doesn't get out there. Mindy process right from when you start the idea helps to get a good message, format, etc., and then market it. And she continues, the book is such a good door opener. The best example is that I got contacted 3 months ago by a company looking for a large well-being program, and one of the people from the company had read my book. There were 3 companies being asked to bid, and my book first got me into the bidding process, and then I'm sure more credibility to win. And as part of the package, every person in the company gets a copy of my book. Well done.
That's the way to do it. That is the way to do it.
That's the way to do it.
I didn't know that story, so well done.
Well done. For the ones who didn't get it, Jane is one of the ladies who works with Mindy and is, what's the name?
The book.
Do you have her? The book Focus and the Age section.
That's it.
Yes. I have it here. Awesome book. Let's focus. So what I meant in a way with the publishing, let's say what's the trend in there, because I'm thinking, let's say I didn't work with you, like it was my case, but if I want to go to a publisher with my book, and what do I have to have in mind, that I don't know if there's any biggest do's and don'ts in the industry. Yeah.
So, well, not do's and don'ts, just different factors. So, I was going to say it depends again. It depends what's most important to you. So when you say go to a publisher, there are the big publishers where you need to do a big song and dance and wait a big long time to see it coming out and have a big rejection usually. Then there's the smaller publishers like Panoma Press. So that's a very, very different scenario. Now, because we're small, we only publish 20 to 25 books a year. So we're discerning. We want to pick those best books, the ones that we know that we can represent and promote and give them their best chance. That should be the mission of every publisher, to give each book its best chance in the market. It's not the mission of most publishing companies who just want to get books out, see, oh, does it do okay? Oh, it's not selling very much. Okay, let's go on to the next one. And that makes me mad, because if you're not a celebrity, I mean, maybe we have some celebrities on the call. If so, please, say hi. But if you're not, like the rest of us, then unfortunately, the big publishers don't want to know, especially now. you know, we've all been challenged by the crisis, and the bigger the publisher, the bigger the challenge. There's going to be chaos. There's going to be, you know, devastation in my industry. So what I would say is the things that you need to know is you need to be happy with that book. I will give you guys a word that we use in my company, but I think everyone should use it, even if you're going to Penguin Random House. You ready? You guys ready? The word is self-certify. Self-certify. Okay. I believe I'm the only person. I'm the only person using this word, self-certify, or the longer version, self-certification. I'll tell you why I'm using this word. In the mortgage industry, if you work for yourself, many times you don't have pay slips, you don't have, you know, the tax documentation, or you have a new business, but you buy a house and you still want a mortgage, right? Or a loan. Yeah. So they say you can self-certify. You get your accountant to say, yes, she runs this business. But you know, you're saying I earn this. I mean, you know, that's a big responsibility. With a book, I think it's a positive, because a lot of people are looking for validation. They're looking for the coach to give them validation. Editors, they're looking for the publisher. They're looking for the market to give them validation. They get a bad review on Amazon and they fall apart. Well, I hope that doesn't happen to you, Tulia, or any of our friends. But let me just make this very clear. You, and I'm speaking to each individual watching me either now or on the recording, you do not need external validation. You don't need it. You self-certify, which goes back to, funny enough, the word that where we had a little discussion with Tulia earlier. That's when you have the belief. When you've done it and you've gone over it, and maybe you've had help, and you know that that is your best effort and the best outcome. You're happy with it. You're proud of it. You know it's the right content, the right length, the right style. Therefore, you sit up straight, take a deep breath, and self-certify. You just basically stamp it yourself. And then, if you get a rejection from some publisher who doesn't know about you or your topic, or it wasn't meant to be. I'm not a big fan of the traditional industry, if you haven't guessed, because, you know, they like waving their magic wand and playing God and saying, oh, you're worthy, you're not worthy, you deserve, you don't deserve. Come on. I mean, I think we're independent people, we're entrepreneurial, and therefore we need entrepreneurial, independent publishing partners.
Yes, I can see from what you're explaining to us here, from your side as a publisher, you have a close relationship you develop a close relationship with the author. So therefore and as you said, you're not going to take in someone that's completely out, misaligned to your values, to the brand, to your own brand at the Panoma Press. So yes, it's a completely different story. Can you share with us, for example, if people here that wants to work with you, what they have to do?
So it's very simple. Have you guys heard of a funnel? Everybody's heard of the funnel? So I say,
say yes here.
Flip the funnel. It doesn't apply here. So it's a bit of a joke, but it's really because I didn't think it was a good use of my time to create the funnel and make people have a free product and then a £10 and then after 6 different things, then they get to talk to me. No, I flipped it upside down. People can talk to me anytime, any day. They just need to schedule it. And until I run out of time, which I think will be never, or when I die, I have plenty of time for a chat, 15, 20 minutes with anyone on the planet. And you know, I'm running 3 big businesses, over $1 million turnover, and people that I'm looking after, staff, and obviously our books. And I will always find time to have that conversation with somebody just to see, is it a good fit? Do you need help at the beginning? Have you written it? Okay, is it a good fit? You know, whatever. And there's no such thing as a stupid question except the one you don't ask, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And is there a time frame for in general, or is very also
depends? That also depends. So
I think your next word is depends.
Yes. So if somebody is working with me one-to-one, so my private clients, we do a 90-day time scale to get the book planned and written. So planned and written in 90 days.
Wow,
To
this
finish
is very fast.
finished manuscript. Yeah. You think that's fast. The group program, I've got a group starting on Wednesday, by the way. If anybody is an action taker, this Wednesday in 2 days' time, you could jump onto this, or I have
Okay,
one.
so you still have opportunity. Yeah,
I
okay.
have 2 places for the one starting Wednesday. Someone wants to write their book or their next book. That course is an 8-week course. 8 weeks, 2 months.
2 months.
Okay, let me make it obvious. I'm sure people realize, but you need to put extra time in if you're going to write the book in 8 weeks, 2 hours a day. So a lot of people seem to have extra time. I don't know why. And there's like some reason there's an abundance of free time. You know, no pubs are open and cinemas and theaters, and so why not get a book written in 8 weeks? Why not? I also have online courses, which, sorry, online is self-paced. You go at your own pace. Most people don't do it in 2 or 3 months. The average there is 5 months.
Yeah, because it's on demand and there's nobody behind pushing them, right?
No accountability. You got it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I was thinking here when you say like, okay, 2 hours a day writing a book.
Yep.
Doesn't you not? What about the creativity? How can you program yourself to work? It's just like 2 hours a day. I'm gonna write no matter what.
Well, that's this process, and that's why I don't work with fiction, because for fiction you need a lot of creativity. But for nonfiction, for business books, expertise books, you know, personal development, you don't need creativity so much as, let's just say, positivity and dependability. And there's some other things that come in, and you can depend on a good process. And we do more planning than any other process that I'm aware of. We have a process that develops a 400-point plan. And that might sound really scary, but I think if anybody is writing a book without having a 400-point plan, they're going to take too long, or they're going to get lost or confused or quit or self-doubt. We do a very, very strong foundation, a very, very strong plan. We've won 17 awards over the years. I know you've won awards as well, Tulia. And the reason why the process wins awards is because of the planning and the structure, and such sexy words, I know. But we're really proud that that is what gets people to do it. And then when they relax because they know they have a good plan, guess what? They can be creative.
That's awesome. It's kind of reversing the process.
It is.
You know?
A lot
because
of stuff
I think
is
like
reversed here.
I need my creative time, and I understand like when you write in something that is related to the business, it's more in a way of gathering the correct information and then planning but it's still I can see myself panicking because I would need to see all this thing around me and say now I'm gonna put them together.
I hope you can do my process one day, Tulia, and you will see how magical it is. And you know, until that time comes, you'll just have to trust me.
I will trust you. I will trust you for sure. I have enough references that I can trust you. So no doubt about it. Does anybody there wants to ask something to Mindy here? It's so unfortunate that this program doesn't allow this. I didn't know, guys.
Talking, so. I have no idea. I use Zoom all the time, and we don't want talking on the recording.
Yes, that's the thing. Is there anything while they're typing? Is there anything else, Mindy, that you would like to share with us that maybe I didn't ask or?
No, that's okay. I mean, look, a lot of people write a book on their bucket list or their dreams, their goals sheet. We know this because everyone else has done surveys, so I don't need to. About 83%, 8 out of every 10 adults say they want to write a book, but then they postpone it. And it usually is a fear. And we spoke about, you know, the fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of rejection, If you can get over your fears, if I'll quote the late, great Susan Jeffers, to feel the fear and do it anyway. A good way to do that is to plug into a proven process. And of course, I'm not just talking about books here. I like to give extra value. If you're fearful about anything. Like me, I have never run a full-length marathon. I've run half marathons. And I know if I chose to do the full one, and I may, I will get a coach. I won't just try to do it from YouTube videos or books, or this is a serious thing. I hurt my hip doing the half marathon. I'll probably hurt both hips if I do the full one, you know. So I would really urge everybody to see if the fear is stopping them, because you know, they say I don't have time, and it's just a smokescreen. It's just an excuse, because here's my big belief: we always find time for those things that are most important or urgent or both. So yes, you don't have time to write a book because you haven't worked your life out to include writing a book. I personally think to do it in 8 or 12 weeks, you'll be done before you realize what you've done. You know, you don't have time to be afraid. That's why I do it this way.
Yeah, the question of time is I would say it's the easy way of trying to get away of something, but the question is, it's about priorities, because when it's your priority, you will find the time no matter what. We have to question. Well, Ian just says, just pray that inspiration comes to you while you're writing. Why, Ian, why do you say that? Because you think like it's difficult to have a plan to write. So Mindy is telling us here that it does work, and Jane is here also saying that it does. Denise says, does the same process apply to Kindle book or hard copy?
Of course. So my personal belief is, if you're going to write a book to build your credibility, so this is, you know, there's two kinds of books. One is a credibility builder. The other is something else, just a book. If you want a credibility building book, and I said 200 pages, you can get away with 140, 150 pages. But if someone is thinking, I'm going to do a Kindle ebook because then I can write 45 pages and publish it, that's not really a book. Well, it shouldn't be. Oh, I just heard a click, and I just thought, just smile for me, please. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Forgot to get a little screenshot, which I always do. So people think, oh, right, well, it's quicker and cheaper, and I'll just do the ebook. I would just ask a question. It's in here somewhere, but this I can't find. Oh, here it is. This guy says, I've written an ebook, and he's at an author signing, and it just doesn't have the same credibility if you only do the ebook. This is not just my belief, because I've asked people, and they go, oh, maybe I'll just write an ebook. And I'll say, oh, okay. Well, if you were, you know, looking to hire someone, and one had, you know, a nice quality book in print, and the other just an ebook, is it the same? And they go, oh, actually, no. And then, so that it's not the same. However, and so I would question, as you can tell, I never just accept something without questioning and discussing, because if they think they don't know enough to write a full-length book, I believe you do. I'm talking to each person now. You do know enough, and there is a way to bring that knowledge and wisdom into the form of a full-length book. So, you know, you're letting yourself down if you think I'm just going to write an ebook because it's easier, or I only have to do, you know, 45 pages. If it's not a book, it's not a book, or otherwise. I just think, you know, this ebook is a bit of a red herring. It's a bit of a...
Would I say that we cannot be half pregnant, right?
Well, that's
that goes well with you, because you can say that. Listen, it's a book or it's not, because we cannot be half pregnant. Yeah, and can you tell me what is the as you just mentioned now here, in terms of size of book, which is something that you say is considered like a minimum that you can say this is a decent, this is a tangible book. Yeah,
I was about to say it depends again. It does depend. So there are some slim books. I mean, I'm sorry Jane can't come on the video, because she has a slim book that is very powerful, and it's got a great cover, and it's been entered in for awards, and it's won her business. And so, you know, but I would say we don't publish at Panoma Press. We don't publish books of less than about 120 pages. because I just think if it looks like a little booklet, or if it needs a stapler instead of proper binding, it's not our brand. We're known for, this is not a mistake that both of my books are exactly the same size, because I can do this and I can put a little ribbon around them and make a gift, but also they look the part. They could be thicker as well, but nowadays we also don't want to go above about 250, 260 pages. If it goes over 300, well, we really won't. We only made one exception last year, and I'm glad we did. Actually, we thought it was going to go over, and it was under. I was prepared to do it. And that book has sold something like 30,000 copies, and we've got 17 translation deals already for that book. It's called The $1 Billion Secret. I love promoting that book. The $1 Billion Secret, if anybody wants to.
Did you write that book?
No,
or
I was the coach and the publisher. I wouldn't know where to begin, but no, this guy, Raphael, I'm not joking. He spent 5 years going around the world and interviewing billionaires and then pulling what he learned together into a really great book. All their best quotes and ideas, and 21 billionaires were interviewed. I think 20 made it into the book. Amazing. It's these kinds of things take dedication. 5 years of his life. He spent thousands and thousands of his own money on plane fares, but the book is now, as I say, I think we have 17 different translation editions and licensed editions. And that's what you can do if you write a great book and it impresses people. Then why would you want to just do a Kindle or ebook?
Denise says, thanks you for your answer. And she says, I've heard that ebooks are easier to publish, but I understand your explanation. Thank you, Denise. Another question here, curiosity, because I'm very visual. Do you think size of the book, thickness, you already said that is not, but size of the book, does that affect how people perceive the book?
Okay, so you can go too big and too heavy. And I used to always say, somebody's going to take the book on the train or on the plane. Well, that's on, on hold for the moment, but you still have to think in that way. Like, is somebody going to think, oh my God, I don't have time to read that big thing. And then they won't even buy it. That can happen. Also, for the very thick, very big books, like the textbooks, they're a real pain because they're very expensive to ship. The postage is much, much more. And, everything, I'm not a big fan of too big or too small. Just right, like Goldilocks.
Good. Yeah, because, for example, I love buying books, and I rarely buy the hardcover ones because I find them unpractical and heavy. Exactly as you said. And so that was a question in terms of, because maybe there's also something that is a trend but I can see most of the books have the same size, right?
Yeah, I think, so the old-fashioned way that the big publishers, some of them still do it. In fact, with fiction, they do it. I don't know why. They bring out the hardback with the jacket, and that's the only one you can get. So it forces people to buy that, which is very annoying. I don't like seeing. And then several months later, they bring out the paperback. It's like a game they play. We don't do that. We go straight to paperback because that's what most people want. It's cheaper to buy. It's cheaper to ship. It's lighter if you're a lady and you have a handbag, or a man with a man bag. You have to think about these things. So anyway, that's my view. Is we have done 3 or 4 books with hardbacks. They don't sell as well. They're impressive. So let's say you're doing like a training for, 200 executives, and you can picture this nice hardback on each desk, and great, but for someone to actually buy it in a store, I don't think so. Not nowadays.
Okay. So my last question for you would be in terms of in the process of working with you, you said there's several options. The person has to talk to you, and then the decision is made, and that includes then in the process the publishing. I understand.
We can discuss coaching, publishing, or both. This is the great news. I mean, it's 2 separate companies, but they work together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys. Oh no, it's backwards. There you go.
No,
Oh,
it's
it was
backwards
right.
for you, but for us it's correct. Let
Oh,
me write
okay.
down here that I will send to them after. JK, no?
Yeah,
No,
Mindy GK. Yeah.
JK. Okay.
MindyGK.com. The reason why I'm showing that is that's my speaker website, and it has all my companies, so it's a one-stop shop. What I would say is, if somebody wants to chat with me, I've just started doing this because it's very easy for me to say, I'll chat with anybody. Go on the website, watch one of my videos. Some of them are just like 1 minute. Find something and prove that you've been on the website, and then I'll have a chat with you. I think that's only fair. That's a courtesy. And I have some great videos on there, and you can browse around and you can, listen to what I have to say about thought leadership and publishing. So there's some free content on there. And that's all I ask. We do have this course starting on Wednesday. Now, I have I think you and I said it's probably short notice. Of course, it's short notice. I have 2 places. I'd be happy to chat with someone about it tomorrow. Let's be fair, it's late already. Speak tomorrow, start Wednesday, it's a possibility. If not, the next group course I'm doing is starting on June 24th.
June 24th.
Yeah, and I have all the information. I can send it through. You won't be put into a funnel. I'll just send you a text or an email, and you'll have everything to decide. But they're really great value because I won't talk money now. Shall I talk money now? It's up to you.
If you feel like I'm okay with it. So if people,
I don't mind. The thing is, sometimes people want an idea. They don't want to just get excited and then they can't afford it or something. I think it's very affordable because this 12-week group program, I used to do it as 12 weeks and start in a hotel and all, we can't do that now. So I cut it down to 8 weeks and no hotel. So instead of £2,995, 3,000 pounds, I cut it in half and made it $1,495. And then I went further and made it $1,495, which is £1,195.
It's 12 weeks, right?
It's an 8-week course.
8 weeks.
And it starts with a double bill, 2 2-hour sessions in a row on the Wednesday and Thursday. And then after that, we go to 1 hour a week for the follow-ups. But we have a lot to cover in the beginning. So we do 4 hours in that first week. And then people know what they're doing. And by the end of the 8 weeks, yes, they'll have at least their first draft. But if they've put their 2 hours a day or 12 hours a week into it, they'll have the whole thing done. Final draft ready, self-certified. That's what's possible. That is what
I loved
possible.
that.
Yeah,
I love that. Well, I think it is. Thanks for that. Okay. If there's any good questions, just to wrap up, people, just your last questions here, because I don't want to take too much of our.
I forgot one thing, Tulia. I forgot to say there is a web. Anyway, these 2 books are both. Here we go. 24 Carat Bold and The Thoughtful Leader are both £199 in pounds, £299 in euros until the end of this month. So 1 more week.
In your page there?
And that, on Kindle, on Amazon, Amazon.de,
Kindle.
Amazon.co.uk, Amazon, any of the Amazons. These Kindles are €299, $299 in dollars, $199 in pounds. So that's part of a special promotion. Jane's book is also part of that. And we have 45 books for sale for that reduced price because, people are stuck at home and we just thought, let's help them out. We reduced all those 45 Kindles down to that price. So I nearly forgot. I always forget to promote my own books. I'm always promoting everyone else. Yeah.
You should have passed all the information to me, and that will do your promotion. It's much easier that way. Yeah. So I don't have. I think I asked you too many questions, and I hope I haven't pulled your leg too much. So
it's fine. I've enjoyed answering them. I've enjoyed chatting with you.
And do you have anything else that you would like to share to finalize, to close? I will send. I will put. I send to them your link here. Okay, and then they can get all the information from you, directly from you, as what you said here. Yeah. So what I would say to people, if you're really taking really considering it, I think is an awesome offer, and having someone who knows can take you by the hand it always a blessing also is, takes a lot of weight from our shoulders and the support. Johan was here too. Hi, Johan. And he says, thank you. Johan has do you know him? He has a very nice new platform of networking, very, very private. I will send you the invitation because he wants to build something that is only by invitation where we can support each other. Last question from Denise. Great, Denise. We love questions. Would you recommend someone doing a writing course for us? Thank you very much, Mindy. That was very generous.
Was it a question about?
Yeah, it was a question. Would you recommend someone doing a writing course first before talking to you?
No, no, it's never too early to talk to me. That's what I'm saying. What the program that we do is a writing course.
That's what I understood. Yeah.
So,
okay,
I really,
you the question you to talk to Mindy now or tomorrow. Yes.
Yeah, tomorrow would be good. Anytime after that, find me on social media. I'm not the most active, but I am on LinkedIn and Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So, we'll connect for sure. And,
Absolutely.
if now is not the right time, if you really can't do it for time reasons or financial reasons, maybe in the future we'll get to work. But just ask yourself, are you just fearful in putting these obstacles in the way? Because I can chat with you about it and, maybe we make it a bit easier. Not maybe, we do. We make it easier and faster.
That's awesome, Mindy. And it's a bit of short notice for everybody, of course, Wednesday. But maybe Denise gets excited. But please do send me all the information I made a note here, June 24th, because I would be happy to share with everybody else. And because, there's an opportunity. And as I say, your voice matters. And I'm saying to everybody there, and writing a book is an opportunity for you to get your voice out there and to give yourself the opportunity to become more known, right? And to really help others out there, because this moment, as Jane explained very well with her own book, she is able to help many other people, and those messages, our messages, can help. I always say there's always someone somewhere out there that needs to hear exactly what you have to say.
Good point.
Thank you so much for being here with us, Mindy, and for being so generous, sharing everything, answering all the questions generously. And we'll be in touch. And for all the ones who are here, Matilda, thank you very much. Thank you all for being here. And we'll continue, because I believe that this journey is important for all of us to have this voice out there. And Mindy is here to help in the printed form, and I'm here to help in other forms as well. So let's grow together this 2020.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.